On this edition of Early Look, I'm going to be previewing a fight that I think is a little bit underrated on this card. I know it's weird to say that, but we're going to be talking about Bo Nickal and Kyle Daukaus. Obviously, there's a lot of big names on this card, but I think this fight's much more interesting than people are giving it credit for, and that's why I wanted to break it down here today. My name is James Lynch. If you've never watched the show before, I'm going to go through a bunch of different stats, a bunch of different intangibles. Then I'm going to give you my prediction for this fight. After you're done watching this video, head down to the comment section and let me know your prediction for this fight. Like we usually do, let's do a quick tail of the tape between these two. You see pretty similar actually in a lot of different ways. 30-33 for, so Bo Nickal a little bit younger, 8-1 record to 17-4. So Daukaus has got more experience. 6'1" to 6'3", 76 apiece. So same reach advantage. Kyle Daukaus a little bit taller. He's also a little bit older and has the MMA experience overall at 17-4 compared to 8-1. Let's start first with Bo Nickal, the previously undefeated Bo Nickal. So I mentioned it there, 30 years old. He's got 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, and 1 decision. He is not ranked. Like I mentioned, 30 years old, 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. So his only advantage physically in this fight is that he's 3 years younger. He's a former NCAA Division I wrestler over there at Penn State. He's a BJJ purple belt, trains at American Top Team, or does some of his camps there, and he does some stuff back home. And then at the big American Top Team there for part of his camp too. He's only got performance of the night 2 times against Jamie Pickett and Rodolfo Vieira. Nickal did not have an amateur debut. Obviously went straight to, Nickal did have an amateur debut. September of 2000. Well, no, actually, no, he didn't have an amateur debut because these are technically amateur fights, but he actually, oh no, never mind. I messed that up because I was looking at the grappling thing here. So yes, amateur debut, September of 2024 was when he made his amateur debut. And then the pro debut was June of 22. I got the numbers mixed up. That's going to happen, guys. I'm going to make sure I update the notes there and put that in there. September 2021. Okay, perfect. I mentioned it there. Made his debut in June of 2022. By that time, Daukaus already had 13 UFC or 13 MMA fights. I'm stumbling over my words here, guys. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, 13 MMA fights. And then by the time that Nickal made his debut, which was UFC 285, that was in March of 2023, Daukaus had 16 fights at that point. So just wanted to point that out with the experience gap between these two as far as MMA fights go. Nickal is 5-1 in the UFC. He's got 4 stoppage victory. He doesn't have a single notable win to his credit. Some people might argue Paul Craig, but you're fighting a much older Paul Craig at that point, who's 36. Tough to count that as like a notable win. I mean, he's a notable name, but I wouldn't say a notable win. And I think Rodolfo Vieira might have been ranked at one point. Maybe we could count him too. But yeah, he doesn't have any real like notable wins to his credit yet with Bo Nickal. That's why this matchup is super interesting. His only notable loss, everyone remembers it, the fight against Reiner de Ritter, where he just did not look like he was on the same level as de Ritter. Got hit, didn't like it, and then ultimately lost with the knee to the body in round 2. Really bad performance there from Nickal, which was last May actually, which is interesting. So almost a year ago around there. Nickal hasn't had any like major layoffs in his career. He's been pretty active throughout his UFC career. Hasn't had any close fights either. The Craig fight was decisive. And that's the only fight he has gone the distance in the UFC. Let's go look at his stats. Bo Nickal, strikes landed per minute, 3.35. His striking accuracy is at 61%. That's pretty high. Striking defense is at 59%. Which is all right, not great, but it's not bad either. Takedown average is 3.110. Takedown accuracy is at 55%. His takedown defense is at 100%. No one's got a takedown on him. And his sub average is 2.5. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about Bo Nickal. Again, not a very long UFC career so far, or MMA career in general, so not a ton to work with. Talk about Kyle Daukaus though. 17-4 record. You can see it there. He's got 2 knockouts, 12 submissions, and 3 decisions. He is not ranked just like Bo Nickal. He is 33 years old, 6'3" with a 76-inch reach. So he'll have a 2-inch height advantage in this fight. He trains out of the Forge MMA. He's a BJJ black belt. He's got performance of the night 2 times against, Jamie Pickett and Michelle Purr. I guess they both fought Jamie Pickett. Why do I not have memory of that? Oh yeah, he fought him back in 2022. So they have a common opponent. With looks like Kyle Daukaus getting it done in the very first round. I forgot about that fight actually, and I had it in my notes too. Kyle Daukaus is you can see here as far as the UFC record goes, he is what is he? Sorry, I got to do my math here. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He is 4-3 in the UFC of my memory. Yeah, I think 4-4. So he's got 4 wins, 4 losses in the UFC. He doesn't have any notable wins. Like he beat Dustin Stolfus. I wouldn't put him as notable. Jamie Pickett, same thing. Michelle Purr is notable in terms of he was ranked maybe at one point, but not super notable either. He hasn't really done a whole lot since then. And Gerald Meerschaert, I think, was ranked at one point as well. But again, he's getting these guys a little bit later in their career. Not Pereira, but Meerschaert specifically. And then he had losses to Eric Anders and Roman Dolidze and Phil Haas and Brendan Allen. So those are the only notable losses you can mention here are Allen and Dolidze. Those are the ones that have been ranked sort of for a while. Daukaus hasn't had really like any major layoffs or any close fights. The only thing I will mention is that obviously he had a UFC stint back in 2020 that saw him go, 2-3. So he loses to Allen. Allen was on short notice, I'm pretty sure. Oh, he had that no contest with Kevin Holland. That's right, too. I think they clashed heads in that fight. Forgot about that one too. So, so it's been it was a very weird first stint for him. Again, he had the Allen fight on short notice, gets a win over Stolfus, loses to Haas, beats Pickett, loses to Lidze and Anders, and then he gets cut. Then he goes on a nice run outside the UFC, beats Robert Gidron, who was 7-7, beat Greg Ellis for the middleweight title for CFFC, beat Sean Connor Fallon, and then Keenan Patershuk as well, which is what got him back in the UFC. So kind of worked his way back. So this is his second stint in the UFC, and so far he's been 2-0 on that. Let's look at Daukaus' stats here. You can see he is, it's going to take a second to load. Strikes landed per minute is 3.32, so not that much different than Nickal, who's 3.35, so they're pretty even in that regard. 53% striking accuracy. Striking defense is at 42%. Part of that, I think, was the losses to Anders and Dolidze from his first UFC stint, but the second UFC stint, you can see it there, he's barely been hit. 2 strikes from Michel Pereira, 0 from Gerald Meerschaert, so something to keep in mind with that. Takedown average is 2.08. Takedown defense is 82. That's pretty high. That'll certainly be tested in this fight with Bo Nickal's very good wrestling, and obviously the sub average is 2.1 with the fact that he's got a lot of submission victories. Okay, let's look at the odds here. So you'll see Nickal almost a 4-1 favorite here, minus 330 on some books. Kyle Daukaus about plus 240. Tapology telling us a similar story here. If we go look at the fan voting here, fan voting has Bo Nickal ahead at 78%, 23% for Kyle Daukaus. The people liking Nickal like him by decision at 76.8. We do have 12% picking him by submission and 10% by knockout. Daukaus, it's 20% by decision, 19% by submission, and 55% by knockout. So the people who like Daukaus here, they do think if he wins, it'll be by knockout, which is interesting. And if we go over to Fight Signal, which is our AI predictor, they like Nickal a lot more here at 68.28% compared to just 31% for Kyle Daukaus. Okay, which way am I going in this one? I actually wrestled with this a bit, no pun intended, because I think Daukaus is kind of like had a really good resurgence right now. But it's really, are you banking on the fact that he's looked good, or is he fighting maybe not the best opposition? That's where we're at right now. With that said, ultimately, I'm going to go Bo Nickal by decision with what the majority of people are going with. And here's why. It's a 3-round fight, so less chances of a finish here with it not being 5 rounds. Daukaus, if you look at it, hasn't been knocked out since December of 2022. That was the Anders fight, which was a TKO win. And he's never been submitted. So Nickal does have a ground game. He's a BJJ purple belt. Daukaus is a black belt. I would imagine a black belt, pretty good indication he's probably not going to get submitted here. So the path to victory for Nickal would either be decision or knockout. And again, I don't think Nickal really packs the same punch that like a 2022 Roman Dolidze does. Maybe he does. We'll find out in this fight. But I think, I don't know if that's sort of on that same level there. The concerning part is the 42% striking defense from Daukaus. Now, again, a lot of that was, I think, based off his first UFC stint. He's looked amazing since coming back. But again, the big question with Daukaus is, Pereira, I think, is much better at this stage in his career than Gerald Meerschaert is. He's 32. It's not like he's on huge decline, but also this is a guy that had lost, 2 in a row coming into this fight. So I do rate that win pretty good, because if you remember, Daukaus was a huge dog in that spot, right? He was plus 200, ends up knocking out Pereira in the first round. Gerald Meerschaert, it was sort of foregone conclusion he was going to win that fight. Meerschaert is, unfortunately, he's getting up there in age, and he's just been getting finished a lot. So that's what's been kind of tough with that. But again, this isn't enough of a strong enough sample size for me to be like, okay, Daukaus is like this dark horse and he's being counted out here. I really don't know. And sort of, I wrote this in my notes here. Is Daukaus for real, or is it just that he's fighting easier opposition? I really don't know, and we're going to find out in this fight. Now, saying that, Bo Nickal has not fought anyone either, right? Val Woodburn, who I think is a welterweight now, not even in the UFC anymore. What's Val Woodburn up to? He beat a 16-8 guy back in August. Jamie Pickett retired. Cody Brundage has not had a good UFC record. Paul Craig retired shortly after that. I think it was a fight or two after he lost to Nickal. He fought 2 more times and then called it a day, right? And he was coming in off a couple losses as well. Vieira, same thing. Older fighter. How old was Vieira in that fight? He was 36? 36, and he was a plus 200 underdog. And since then, he lost to Eric McConaughey last weekend, the time I'm recording this. So again, that's where I get a bit worried with Nickal, is that like, we obviously know the potential. It's kind of like Aaron Pico, right? Everyone's like, oh, the pedigree, the potential's amazing, but it's like, who have they beat really, right? That's what makes things a bit tough here. So again, with Nickal, like, I think the talent's there, but I'm also like a little bit worried about that Reiner to Ritter fight. That's still fresh in my head here. Again, physically and age-wise, they're the same. I imagine Nickal would be the better athlete just with his pedigree in wrestling, obviously being a former NCAA Division I wrestler. But yeah, like I wrote in my notes here, RDA fight still haunts me till this day. It did not look like Nickal like getting hit, and Daukaus does have some power and can hit you, and we saw that in the Michel Pereira fight, right? To me, if you're betting this fight, it's dog or pass. I'm probably going to bet Daukaus. I know I'm picking him here, but I just can't ignore the fact that he's being this much of a dog in this fight. And like I said, I almost picked him, but I just see a world where, Nickal maybe doesn't look amazing, but he just does enough to get a decision here. But Daukaus, I think, you're getting him here at plus 240. They fought almost the same opposition. I think Daukaus has fought the better opposition. Obviously, Daukaus has lost against some of those guys like Delidze and all that. But like, I don't know, like they both have the same amount of like, if anything, I think Daukaus maybe has better win. I think Daukaus' win over Michel Pereira is better than anything that Bo Nickal's done, in my opinion. That's how I rate that fight. So teach their own. But yeah, again, I'll take Nickal here, but risky fight, guys. I think if you're betting Bo Nickal, you can't be feeling too good about it because we're not that far removed. We're 2 fights removed, or a fight removed, I should say, from the RDR fight, and that was a total nightmare. So yeah, again, pick's going to be Nickal, but no bet for me on Nickal's side. Absolutely not. So let me know in the comments which way you're leaning here. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. This is Early Look. Thanks so much for watching. My name is James Lynch. I'll talk to you guys soon, and appreciate you watching.